Growing up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I always felt that I was born at the right time. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. So my mom and dad, they yell out, Billy, Bobby, Stan, Greg, and Dennis. Let's do this, let's do that. So I was Dennis, I was the youngest. My parents unfortunately died when I was very young. It was an incredible blow to me. I was the youngest. My dad died when I was 11 years old. We were very close. And then my mother died when I was 13. And so I had to grow up very fast. I also, though, had to try to be positive in a world that looked pretty rough to me. I mean, life seemed like it wasn't very fair. In fact, I know it wasn't very fair.
Dennis Green was a child of the 1960s and witnessed the height of the civil rights movement. As America was slowly changing, so were his educational opportunities.
I was senior class president, vice president student council at a school that was probably about 1/3 African American. So it wasn't about race then. By the time I came along, all that hard work that Martin Luther King had done, all that hard work, the civil rights, all that opportunity that said that if you go to school, take care of business, and get the job done in the classroom, then people look at you for who you are, not the color of your skin. In 1967, when I came out of high school, in my opinion, that was really kind of the opening, particularly of the black athlete. I can remember the 1960 big game, Iowa against Minnesota, and they had Sandy Stevens. I had seen Sandy Stevens play at Uniontown High School, and when he went to the Big Ten, I was like, okay, if that's good enough for Sandy Stevens, that's good enough for anybody. And so I became interested in the Big Ten.
Green earned a football scholarship to Iowa, enrolling in 1967.
When I went off to Iowa, we had a class of 30, but surprisingly, 15 of those 30 guys were African Americans. And it became kind of a very exciting time for us.
Green started at tailback for Iowa for 3 seasons, and after leaving Iowa, began working his way up the coaching ranks in college, including a stint with Bill Walsh's staff at Stanford. On December 23, 1980, Northwestern University made history hiring Green as their head coach, making him the first ever African-American head football coach in the Big Ten.
Back in 1981, there weren't that many black head coaches in the entire country. When I interviewed for the Northwestern job and got it, I really believed in it. I believed that we could turn around. I felt I had a good, solid background. So even though I was only 31 years old, I had been coaching for 10 full years. My pitch was always the same. First off, what I told Northwestern, I'm a Big Ten man. I had played football in the Big Ten, was an assistant coach in the Big Ten, and understood the Big Ten. It made me feel proud because I realized all the civil rights things that had taken place, civil rights battles over all the years, and then for this small school up in the northern suburbs, Evanston, to be the first. Not Michigan, not Michigan State, not Iowa, but Northwestern's one who I felt had to have that courage to step out and say, we're going to hire the best available guy for this job. He might be 31, that's fine. He's an African American, that's fine. We don't care. We want him because we think he can help build our program. The athletic director that they hired at Northwestern was an assistant coach with me at Stanford. And so when he got the athletic director's job at Northwestern, he said, hey, they want me and they're eventually going to want you because you've been at Stanford, you understand the whole idea of a student being first and an athlete being second and how you can combine those two. And that was the philosophy that we brought to Northwestern.
In 3 seasons prior to Green's arrival, Northwestern's record was 131-1. Some even called for the football program to be eliminated.
A lot of people felt that we're embarrassing ourselves. We cannot compete against these other schools in the Big Ten, and that we really should drop football. But there were some other people who had been there when they were successful, which was in the 60s, and who felt that we could be successful again, and those people won out.
On October 10, 1982, Green led Northwestern to a 31-6 win over Northern Illinois, ending Northwestern's then NCAA record 34-game losing streak. The Wildcats would finish with a record of 3-8. Despite losing 8 games, Green won Big Ten Coach of the Year honors.
I realized how much respect we had gained as players. We only won 3 games, but we were in probably 8 or 9. I was there 5 years, and we basically turned that program around. We made them believe in themselves. We had arrived. We had some exciting players. We showed it was a good step in the right direction.